go to 1-800-GO-GUARD.com.
Talking about domestic violence this afternoon on Kababayan Today. Earlier, we showed you a testimonial or interview from one of the survivors that we talked to at the Safe House of CPAF, Center for the Pacific Asian Families. And then also, second segment, we showed you an interview with Fatima, somebody from CPAF, and she gave us information on the telethon that we're holding this coming Saturday here in LA 18. Sana po, magsama-sama din tayo. But for now, I invited as well our resident marriage therapist here on Kababayan Today, Gail Lafreniere. Hello and welcome once again to our program.
Thank you, Janelle.
Gail, you know, it's a sad topic, very difficult issue, but like I mentioned earlier, it's a topic that nobody wants to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just among Asians? Is that just among Filipinos? Or does does the shame and stigma involved in domestic violence, does it translate to other ethnicities as well?
Yes, I think it does translate to other ethnicities because it is a shame issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way the Asian community differs is in the way we manage it.
Okay.
Kasi the Asian communities would rather keep it to the family,
yeah,
so that nobody else knows about it. So it's supposed to be a secret because it reflects back on our families.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the message is that it is their fault. Mm-hmm. As to why they're in that abusive relationship.
Right.
So
right.
as far as the Western culture is concerned, though, it's something that they're able to reach out to law enforcement, you know, to other community agencies out there that can help them.
So they're more assertive of their rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so too.
Than
yes.
the Asian community.
Yes.
But when we say keep it in the family, can we really keep it in the family? Do the victims, do they display any symptoms that outsiders can see?
I think that if you are not really going to be very observant, you may not be able to see it. Because again, the victim might be in that position where they're trying to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they'll hide the bruises, or they won't go out, or they'll make excuses for the spouse or the partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you say hide it, are the victims hiding it? Or we posted this question to some of our survivors that we interviewed. We're going to show you more later on in the program. Are they hiding it? Do they know that they're in that bad situation? Or are they oblivious to the fact that they are abused?
I think that there is a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
You know, part of them really believe that this should not be happening. Mm-hmm. But then the other part of them also feels that this is something that they've done. Mm. They did something to trigger it.
Right.
So that's why they kind of, you know, try to go back and forth on the issue.
Is that one of the myths? Should we consider it a myth to say that abused victims don't know that they are abused? Do they know?
I think that there is a part of them that does know, again, because it is a very hurtful experience for them. I mean, both literally and, you know,
physically,
figuratively,
yeah,
and emotionally, and all of that. But I also think that there is a myth that victims don't want to leave their abusers,
okay,
but actually they do. Mm-hmm. It's just that they try to do it over a period of time. Maybe they do it repeatedly. They try to leave, but then they're never really successful. Or maybe that one effort or one attempt might be successful at that time.
Yeah.
And then there's also another myth that victims have very low self-esteem. That's why they're in that relationship. And actually, that's not really true. In fact, the only common denominator, as I told you earlier, is that victims are usually women.
Okay.
And so, but it's not because of the low self-esteem. They do suffer low self-esteem after they've been in that kind of a relationship, just because of the constant battering, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and the trauma. And I guess there is an element of what do you call that? Being brainwashed.
Yes.
Into staying.
Yes, there is such a thing called it's a diagnosis. It's called PTSD. I'm sure you've heard of it, post-traumatic stress disorder. And part of what happens in that syndrome is that they have a sense of helplessness and hopelessness. So they stop trying.
All right.
And it's like they already come to accept that this is going to be their life.
Right, and that's what the survivor earlier was saying in an interview. She was saying that she was trying to accept, and for what time she already did, that was her life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens when you do suffer from PTSD. Now, not everybody who goes through it suffers from PTSD, but when you do have that, then it becomes part of it. It becomes, you know, as you said, accepting it and not really wanting to change it or not really feeling like you can change it.
And I guess what people are calling the cycle of violence, where you experience violence and then the perpetrator is so remorseful, tries to make amends, and is sweet for a while until it happens again. I think that plays a major role as well. We're going to be talking about that when we return on the show, plus more interviews with the survivors. Don't go away.